Looking at structures to build. I was looking at log cabins, and I said, what am I going to put up on the property up in Tennessee? And I says, you know, one of the best things to put up there is what you call the arch structure, like this. And I just want to draw it out because if you have a structure like this, say it was like a tent, you know, more or less, right? I'm not saying that small, but say this was 8 feet, this board right here. This would be approximately 5.5 feet right up there, right there. If this was 8 feet, that would be about 5.5 feet. This would be about 10.5 feet on the bottom, right? So, if you had, you know, what you use is 3x1 boards, like they're like this, right? And you put two together like that, and what you could do is have one in the middle like this that joins them, and you bend them. You bend one at a time because they're 1x3s. The 3 inches is going that way, and the 3 inches is what is, and you know, I guess you can actually put some inside here too. Put some blocks of wood in there. So you bend them. You bend them like an arch, right? Maybe that isn't right 100%, but you bend them like an arch. If this is, it's an arch though. If this is 16 feet, right here, right? This is about 11.5 feet. And down here, it's maybe 22.5 feet this way. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. Because you can go 40 or 60 feet all the way this way. Right? And then you can have your 8-foot ceiling with a 3.5-foot attic, which also strengthens the sides. Now, when you're looking down the side of this, say you got it like this, you know, say it's like that long. Say you got a 60 footer. Say that's 11.5 feet and that's 60 feet. What you want to have, so you got, say you have these 3-inch strips, 3x1s, and you got some supports in the center. So some places it's 3x3 or it's 3x2. In other words, two 3x1s. They're bent like an arch. Since it's a 1-inch thick board, you can bend it. You bend it on a jig. Now, the other thing I was thinking too, if I have the Alaskan chainsaw thing up there, you could bend the wood pretty damn easy when it's green. And once it's all tied together, like you tie this together with a plate up here, and of course you could tie it together right up here, you know, which makes it stronger. And then normally you put these every 4 feet. Now you could do it 2 feet, but I was thinking every 16 inches, which to me, and this would be 4 feet right here, which to me, then you're talking like regular freaking framing. But this kind of structure is really strong because it's round. The wind blows that way. It's like snow loads can't really go on it. Not that there's going to be a lot of snow up there. There's going to be some. And it's like, it's got, you know, when something isn't flat, to catch the wind, and that's the other. So like a 4x piece of plywood would go in there. Then you'd have the next piece of plywood go like that. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit more to scale like this, right? And you have another one up here. You know? So, actually there'd be four. There'd be four because this would be, see that would work out because this is 16 feet. You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of plywood going up, staggered. Now you can also have going across here, before you put the plywood up. Well, you could do that right here. You could do that right up here. See where this is tied together at the 8-foot level? And we're all tied together where these are even, where these are going every 16 inches, which would keep this more laterally stable before you're putting the plywood up. Which I think, probably 1/4 inch would work, even, not, or maybe 3/8. I'm not sure. 1/4 inch you can bend real easy. I've seen, like this. Don't give me a lot of crap for this, because this is just a fence. That's why I did this. This stuff bends real easy, and it's real plywood. Now I got these beams like this because this is a fence. This is not a real structure. You know what I mean? It's a fence. And actually 3/8 would work too. OSB, oriented strand board. You'd be able to bend it. And if you're going by, if the wood is, this is a 2x6, so it's 2 1x3s every 16 inches, with some supports inside it in the middle, every once in a while. That would work. The cool thing about this is, I could build it out. Let's say this is 60 feet, right? I could build it out to 24 feet, right? And if I want to later on, I could just put the rest on. See that? And I could put, like, in other words, say that's 24 feet. You put the door in here and a window and all this kind of crap, right? And maybe got a little window up here on the top. and you got that sealed off. But then when you build another 36 feet on the outside here, this, that's all braced up on the inside too. See? You know what I mean? And actually, that's not too bad. It's actually, that could look really nice. It depends on, I was thinking this shit could be freaking, it's really super sweet. Now, I noticed best thing to put over the exterior sheathing, like you probably don't really need exterior sheathing, it would be metal roofing. And I'm not sure about what kind of metal roofing I want to put, because I'd like to put something that looked like wood. If there's a type of metal roofing that is has a wood grain paneling, like a wood grain effect to it, that would make this place look cool. This would look like a log thing. That's what it'll look like. And you could put a wood thing up here in the front. And you can stick some windows on that side. You can have maybe, because most of my windows aren't, I don't give a shit about, I would like to have windows on the side. But say these are 16 inches, you might have a 14-inch window or 13-inch window like that opened up with a little awning thing on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that'd be cool. Or you can actually make this, and say you had the one like that, right? And you did that. You could have the other one coming this way, excuse me, like that, right? Like that, with a little square rectangular thing that joined them in the middle, that's 8 foot high, that had a slightly sloped roof on it, right? You could do that too. That would be cool. And then you'd have in here that you can have your, I don't know, fenced off or some shit like that. It would be like this. You know what I mean? That'd be cool. This is a cheap structure, but it's very strong. I don't know why the hell they don't bank these anymore. I don't know what the deal is. I know that the guy that designed this originally was a shipbuilder, because actually it's more like that, it's wider. It looks like an upside down ship hull. Very strong, very, very strong. And again, you can use, you don't even have to cut much lumber, because if you're using the 8 foot 1x3s, you have 8 foot and 8 foot, that's 16 feet, right here. You got, that gives you about 11 and a half, height. And I know the one disadvantage to this is like the walls. Like you maybe, you know, on one side or some of the rooms you might want to do something like that, you know, and you got a closet in here or some shit, you know, where this is going up maybe 5 feet and then it curves up a little bit. But you know what I mean, you got, you know what I'm saying, you could do stuff like that where you could put stuff up against the wall. That, but then all this is still space. You got space. This actually, what's cool about this, you can add on to this thing really easy. It's like Legos. And the support beams, like I said, you got, that's an 8-footer. That's an 8-footer. It's, you know, you're looking at just the 1-inch side. Here's the, you know, here's the, you know, if you're looking at the 3-inch side, right? You bend them. You can bend a 1x8, a 1x3 by 8 foot long, a 1x3. You can curve it. And what I was thinking is when you put something in between here, like blocks, you can keep that bend on there better, especially if the wood is freshly cut from trees. And then the way to join these two, you could put the 1x8 in the middle, especially with some construction glue and a few screws, you know. Then you got a 16-footer, which gives you this 11.5 foot height total. So you can have 3.5 feet up here on your little attic, 8-foot ceiling, 22.5 feet on the bottom. I don't know what this would work out to be on the bottom. Say you did something like that. You might lose, I don't know, you might lose 6 feet. It might be 16 feet. You know, if you made a wall, still, it's not freaking bad. Because it's not just 16 feet like a standard room. You see, you've got this space. You can put all this junk in there, you know. And then it gives you an air pocket where there's more insulation. You know what I'm saying? So this thing is wicked, man. This is the way to do it. It's the cheapest construction in the world. And I was thinking is, if I do it and I'm like partially done with it, what I'm going to use is, I'm not going to be able to bring my air compressor up there. What I'll bring is my little pump sprayer, the one that uses, like, that's designed for like spraying chemicals, and thin out some water-based roofing paint and just spray everything down, like the white stuff, the white elastomer stuff. Just water it down a little bit so it's thinned out, so it works in the sprayer, and spray all this wood down so it don't rot. You know, in other words, it's all preserved. And if I get sheathing out there, I can always spray it down with that white stuff, thinned out a little bit, because that stuff lasts a million years, man. I know I got a couple of these cat silhouette cutouts I have. There's decorations on my lawn here, and they've been painted with that white roofing elastomer paint about 5 years ago, and the plywood never rotted. It's exposed to the weather on the edges and everything. So, you know, this is what I'm planning on doing, I think. It might not be a real long one. It might be a 36 like this, and then do it like, in other words, you have this piece, and then you come in here and you do the other side like this, and you joined it with a square thing. You know, there's a square thing in there. You know, and then so you have, you know what I mean. Then you can see, you get your little window up here, you get your door, another window, and you got some windows on the side, long ones. Yeah, what about that, huh? It's cheap. Thing is, you can add on to it like Legos. It's strong as shit, though. That's the other thing. And I know it's supposed to be considered a temporary structure, but if you make it with 1x3s and you use real sheathing on it, I think 3/8 was bendable enough. A 1/4 inch definitely. But a lot of people don't even put sheathing. But then if you're putting you see, if you're putting this floor up here, what you would have is you'd have a support every so often. Like if this was the floor up here, you'd have a support like here, and say that would be a, I don't know, a 12-foot span or some bullshit. You'd have another support right here, right? And you'd have the floor up there. But all that would tie this crap together. I just hope they don't have building codes up there where I'm going, because I'm going to go, I'm going to try to go off the grid so I don't have to freaking mess around with any building codes. How's that? That's a plan. I was trying, you know what? You got to think out your plan before you just go do it. You just can't be stupid and go blind. Because I was thinking about, you know, trying to cut down logs and stuff like something like that. And you know, so you're getting this big tree, you're pulling a log that weighs 2,000 pounds or whatever the hell it is. You debark it. You got to scribe it. What, are you kidding me? I ain't doing that shit. I'm going to a lumber yard. But the most efficient use of materials might be this kind of structure. The arch cabin. I'm ready to do it. Yeah, I left my intricate plans here, but you know what I'm going to do before I try doing this up in Tennessee? I'm going to try to make it something maybe over that boat down here in Florida, and do a test run first. And once I figure it out and I actually do it, I could probably disassemble that sucker and haul it up there. That'll be the way to do it, man. See what I mean? It's called thinking ahead. Haul it up there with this thing. Because if you got the two 8-foot bow sections, they go up like this. And they go right up to here. And you have them all down in here. And you go up there and you get your plywood. And you bolt them all together after you get your frame. Once I have my frame up, I can hold up all the sections up here. Say if I had it already built up down there over that boat. Take that shit apart with screws. Throw it back in here. Once I got the frame up on the floor, you know, the floor frame, bring these bows up there, paint it, screw them all together, put the sheathing up, and I'm almost hoping, you know, I'm like getting, I got a shelter for crying out loud, you know what I mean? Because I'll put the, I'll use the sprayer on the sheathing, then I'll caulk it later and shit, put some, I don't know. Yeah, I could put roll roofing on a crap for now. I mean, I could do something like that, and that would get done in 2 seconds flat, you know? Roll roofing lasts freaking 10 years for crying out loud. Over and out.